praises.
Welcome to the signing day edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford studio this morning. We will bring a podcast to you over the next hour or so. I have no idea what it's going to look like. We probably are going to get calls and texts and different things. So you'll see us react in real time. Hopefully we won't have to take any breaks or anything. But get a podcast this morning. You're going to get a couple different shows today, give you a little rundown of what we have going on here at rebelgrove.com and the MPW Digital Network. We've got the thread up on the message board, obviously, with signing day, every update, the rumors, the news as we hear it. There on the message board and linked out front. We got a couple new deals, too, for people who have not taken the plunge to rebelgrove.com. You're listening to the podcast. Good time to do that with some different things going on. Obviously, you have one option of buying an annual subscription, and you get $50 in the Rivals Fan Shop for doing that. Doesn't even have to be Ole Miss gear, just anything in the Rivals Fan Shop that you so wish. Also, they've got a 3-for-1 deal right now where you get 3 months for the price of one. So you can check Twitter, you can check different places to see all the details there. But sign up, use the promo codes, and you get those two options. Tonight at 6, have a watch party for Ole Miss and South Carolina basketball. That's a 6 o'clock tip tonight from the Pavilion. Neal will be at the Annex, the lower area of Rafters. I will probably be there. My voice is not really good, and because of what I'm about to tell you in a second, having to kind of monitor that a little bit today as well. We're going to do a hand raise, guys, tonight. 8:15, probably a start time for that. We'll take your calls. We'll take your questions. We'll talk signing day. We'll talk recruiting. We'll talk whatever you want to talk about, basketball, baseball, and whatnot there on that show as well. So that's kind of our rundown for today, what we have going on. The hand raise, guys, tonight will be tomorrow's Oxford Exxon Podcast. We are recording with Lindsey Graham, the podcaster, tomorrow, but you're going to get that on Monday. We didn't really want to run on Friday. That's our lowest show of the week typically, so you'll get that on Monday. So there's the rundown for the day, and the Oxford Exxon Podcast is brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West. You know about the great gas prices that get even better with the Speed Pass Plus out, the mobile rewards program, and more. The ribs, lunch specials, the daiquiris, whenever you so wish. And with basketball tonight, you can use that that ticket for a coupon at the Oxford Crystal, $150 off a steamer pack or a sack full there with the Oxford Crystal. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. You get the quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop it around, or you can do what I've done, which is hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove it to you. 662-257-1900. Avery asked about The Bachelor. I have negotiated to tape The Bachelor and watch it tomorrow night as if it were live. So I've got to get off social media sometime.
Whoa, hold on, what?
The Bachelor's tonight, too. Another 3-hour edition.
Why are they doing one tonight?
Because there's a lot going on. This is one of the most dramatic weeks ever.
This season sucks. Why are they doing 3 hours tonight?
It's the most... Pilot Pete is searching for love, Chase. Okay? And sometimes love involves Wednesday night rose ceremonies in Costa Rica.
Is that where they are?
That's where they're going.
They went from Cleveland to Costa Rica?
Yep. Scenic Cleveland to scenic Costa Rica. Love sometimes takes you to all sorts of places. The quest for love.
All right, you're piloting this ship. What are we doing?
I don't know. We're talking recruiting. The big news this morning is Malachi Weidman.
It's 8:06 a.m., by the way, for the podcast listeners, because, look, who knows by the time you listen to this.
Avery, I will let you call in and talk about it, and we'll just do the best we can. How about that? I'll be drinking. It won't matter. Malachi Weidman, as of Monday, was going to Ole Miss. As of Tuesday, I thought he was going to Ole Miss. As of last night, people at Florida State thought he was going to Ole Miss. As of this morning, it appears he is going to Tennessee. He visited Ole Miss, left on Monday. I think Kevin Smith felt like, from talking to people, that they had it done. I know that Ole Miss made kind of a last-minute switch on who his recruiter was just to balance things out, and it does not appear that he's going to end up at Ole Miss. I don't have that confirmed. Rob Cassidy was digging around on it just a few minutes ago when I was talking to him, but a lot of the Florida State people, Michael Langston included, who covers Florida State for Rivals, said that he's hearing in Tallahassee that it's Tennessee this morning. And if that's the case, there's no spinning it. It's a big blow for this class.
Obvious question. Derek Nix, his lead recruiter after Kevin Smith was switched.
Yeah, they put Derek Nix on him because
Kevin has been handling a lot. He basically has been recruiting Zachary Evans and Mark Britt, and some of those dudes.
And so the rest of the morning, we're waiting on news on Mark Britt. I don't know that any news is coming today.
He put on Twitter that he was going to do something February 20th, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but okay, whatever.
It doesn't. Now,
it's Ole Miss or Florida.
This could be cryptic. One of those schools, it's possible that he sends in his paperwork and it just sits there for 2 weeks and they let him have his announcement.
Okay.
I don't know. On Zach Evans, I know that he's not on ESPN's list of announcements to do because I don't think ESPN trusted Zach to follow through with whatever. Zach Evans was telling people yesterday that he was signing with Ole Miss. Today.
Again, he can sign school papers, conference papers. Conference papers keep other schools from getting in on him, and the school papers tie Ole Miss to him.
Yes, he can sign the Ole Miss papers that tie Ole Miss to him. He can sign the SEC papers that prevent other SEC schools from recruiting him.
Right.
And making him where if he goes to play in the SEC next year, it's at Ole Miss. That would not prevent Arizona State or Texas or ULM or Houston or someone from recruiting him because those schools are not in the SEC. Therefore, they're not subject to SEC rules. As of 11 o'clock last night, people very, very, very close to Zach Evans were saying he was going to sign with Ole Miss today. Things do change. We'll see.
You're not ready to put that one in blood yet?
I'm not. Marcus Henderson is going to sign with Arkansas. Alan Horace has signed with UTSA. I anticipate Deron Branch will sign with Ole Miss. It appears that Donovan Kaufman will sign with Vanderbilt. Brady Ward's going to announce a decision later this morning between Ole Miss and Auburn as to where he will gray shirt. I anticipate that it will be Ole Miss.
Yes, that's the rundown.
Did I miss anybody?
No,
I probably did. Cedric Melton will announce for Ole Miss this morning. There might be somebody else. I don't know.
So this class could be as small today as like 3-4 dudes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that, but yeah. Listen, and I'm going to write this later today. I was going to write it no matter what happened today, whether today went super duper good for Ole Miss or whether today was a complete disaster for Ole Miss. It's not necessarily fair to Lane Kiffin and company, but it is what it is. Effective today, the 2021 class is absolutely on the clock. And if Ole Miss is going to become a contender in the SEC, this next class has to be star-studded. It has to be deep. It has to be impactful. It has to be it's probably got to be a top 7 or 8 class in the country. That's the pressure. And given that Ole Miss has signed one of those in its history, that's a lot to ask. But that's what's if you're going if the goal is to compete big, that's what it has to be.
13 and 16.
Okay, twice.
Yeah. I'm assuming that 16 class. I don't remember where they finished, but it had 2 top 5 national players in it. You know, we always talk about, I think it'd be a great coffee table book for the stories we've had to erase over the years. Same could be said for cover art with recruit graphics committed somewhere that we don't actually use because Rivals just sent us graphics for Donovan Kaufman committing to Ole Miss here at some point today. And they do this all the time. Like this is if there's a possibility, they go ahead and send the graphics out. But I have a lot of graphics probably in my inbox of kids that did not go to Ole Miss.
We got to do that sometime. Just throw them out.
Yeah.
Here they are.
You could really screw with people. Just tweet them out like old ones. Go, whoa, hold on. What?
Yeah, 2 years later.
Yeah. What are you doing? But anyway, thanks to Nick for that.
Yeah, they work hard.
I have Malachi Weidman ones now too.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained. I do sound better though.
Sam Spiegelman has a really good Donovan Kaufman to Ole Miss story written.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Does it have quotes?
No, just a lot of analysis. Zach Berry has a lot of analysis written on a bunch of guys, Malachi Weidman included. I just couldn't make myself do it yesterday. I thought, you know what? I'm going to wait and see.
There will be time.
I'm going to wait and see.
So let's say everything goes as scratch right now, okay? Weidman to UT, Branch to Ole Miss, whatever.
Okay.
Mark Brett to – sounds like Ole Miss, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, you get a little skeptical when it's 15 more days, but probably.
I think so.
What's the key miss in this group if it goes scratch?
There's no defense. There's no defensive lineman in this class. It's a problem. They probably are a defensive back short, depending on what happens with Britt. I think Kaufman's terrific. I think Kaufman's underrated. That's really it. I mean, it's a transition class. And the truth is, with the Matt Luke staff, this class was falling apart on that end too. And there will be some of the Luke defenders who will come out today and say, well, Matt Luke, they had the staff going. There's not much of that, but there's a little of it. No, that class was falling apart. You could feel it. They were not going to get McKinley Jackson. Let no one believe that. McKinley Jackson told coaches at Mississippi State throughout the year, when they kept recruiting him, he told them, I'm not going in state. I'm not going in state. And he wasn't going to go in state. So transition classes are always difficult. You just don't have the relationships.
And it is still about relationships.
It's all about relationships. And the truth is, these guys are going to get an opportunity to regroup a little bit, to kind of figure some things out. And the 2021 class is going to be critical. And starting March 1st, when you can recruit these guys, it's got to be – there's no time for the laid-back approach come March 1st if you're the Ole Miss staff. You've got to get after it. You got to get after it. Like some of these guys are going to have to get after it like they've probably never gotten after it before. And for the people that are going to do the money thing, I'll say what's the network probably wishes I would never say. If you're going to land the big-time impactful recruits, the overwhelming majority of them come with the price tag. Everywhere.
Your mailbag's out front. You touted Henry Parrish, I saw, as one of your kind of breakout guy.
Yeah, he's terrific. I think he's one of the best running backs in the country. They'll be fine at running back whether they get Evans or not. It's a deep room. That's a deep room. They've got Ely and Connor and Parrish and Kentrell Bullock, who I think is terrific.
I think he's going to have a package.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fine at running back. I'm a little worried about this team at defensive line. I'm a little worried about this team in the secondary. Maybe up front on offense.
Branch is a good get in the secondary.
Yeah, Branch is a good get.
I know he's not ranked highly, but he's a good get. And yeah, just a little clarify. We're mostly talking about defensive tackles. There's a couple ends in the class, obviously, with Clowney and those guys.
Yeah.
The only on the board tackle in the class is DeSanto Rollins, the kid from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah, 6'4", 285 for DeSanto Rollins. But that's it.
Yeah.
Currently ranked 43rd in the country with 16 commits. It'd be amazing they don't even get to the 20 threshold.
Yeah. And for the people that get obsessed with rankings today, I'm not worried about it.
Not playing that game.
This time next year, all in. This year, nope. I suspect for Lane Kiffin and company today is a bit of a wake-up call. Not that you needed one, and I don't mean that critically. This is not Alabama. It's the margin for error is smaller. It's not Tennessee, frankly. The network's not as big. You got to probably cross more T's and dot more I's.
Where do you fall on that being something that had to be kind of learned a little bit?
Has to be learned.
You think it has to be learned?
Got to be experienced. Yeah, it's like parenting. People can tell you how to parent. Until you're a parent, you don't know what it's like to parent. I don't think someone can tell you how hard marathon training is going to be, and until you start marathon training, you don't really understand it. You know what I mean? Until you cut your nipple open for the first time, you don't really get it. Oh, this is different than what I am used to. So, yeah, I think you have to experience it.
Just checking for. I know there are people that are interested on what kind of rankings can do and different things. Just looking at it here, did some quick math. Zach Evans, should he sign with Ole Miss, he is worth 213 points. So just him by himself would bump Ole Miss to from basically 10 spots, from 43 to like 32 by himself. They would jump some other schools. Now, obviously, they're getting guys too and whatever. So I mean, it's not all a gross situation. But 213 points for Zach Evans should he sign for Ole Miss.
And I'll cross this bridge too, because I think Rivals is figuring out what to do with him wherever he signs, because he can't sign an NLI.
Right.
I think they're going to count him in the class, but it might take them a minute to figure out kind of how they do that, because this is sort of uncharted territory. So I can tell you, having talked to Rivals people yesterday, there's no conspiracy.
They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's all going to be okay.
Well, it depends where he signs on how they count it.
No, I can tell you
if
that.
If he goes to A&M, that bitch is getting done.
I can tell you that is not true.
If he goes to Ole Miss, they'll count that in August. It's going to be a big X through his name.
My anticipation from what I was told yesterday is that he will count in the rankings.
Okay.
Probably pretty quickly, but I think because as you know, in our database, when a kid signs, we go in and flip him from committed to signed, and it says signed NLI.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't sign an NLI, so it's all going to be all right.
Yeah, he was not covered in our little
No.
little email yesterday about what to do about certain kinds of kids. He was a special case. No, I don't. I think Kiffin being picky is a good thing. You don't want wasted
Yes.
space. I mean,
No.
you do not take kids just to take kids because those kids get processed.
So with Marcus Henderson, something happened on his visit. Okay? That's not why, in my opinion, they didn't take him. That rumor's out there. The rumor's true. I'm not going to get into it and disparage the kid. I'm just not. It's true. What you hear out there is generally true. They kept recruiting him after that. But I think they took a deeper dive into the evaluation on Marcus Henderson and decided that they did not believe he could play defensive line in the SEC. Henderson wants to play defensive end. He's not a defensive end. Henderson is a defensive tackle if he's anything on the defensive line, and he's a project at defensive tackle because he's not that big. He's probably an offensive guard, and he doesn't want to play offensive guard. Ole Miss was unwilling to say to him, hey, we'll put you at defensive end. I guess Arkansas did. It's a decision that Arkansas made. It's a decision that Ole Miss made. Someone will get it right. Someone will get it wrong. But if you believe as a staff that a kid can't play in this league when you play against Alabama and LSU and Texas A&M and Auburn and Florida and all of those teams in the first 7 games of your season, year in and year out, if you don't believe a kid can play, you don't take the kid. You don't win this thing with low 3 stars. You just don't.
The spot is more valuable than a wasted body.
Yes, you save the spot. You can use the spot in the transfer portal. They're going
always count back a little bit depending on what year it is. There's stuff.
There's stuff you can do, especially now with kids graduating in December. Gives you even more flexibility. So you don't take a kid just to take a kid. And Ole Miss isn't winning the SEC next season. Let's get that out of the way. Ole Miss isn't finishing its season in Atlanta next year. So you don't want to take a kid that's going to take you 4 years to impact.
Mm-hmm.
You're better off saving that spot and using it on someone who can impact immediately.
Continue this conversation in a second. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting, understands your market, leader in condo financing, the float down option, and rates are great right now. So take advantage of that with Jason, 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We are also brought to you, I told you about Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Be a good place this weekend to watch some college basketball. You're coming in for Ole Miss in Florida Saturday. Head over to Rafters before or after, and then on Sunday they'll have the Bluegrass Brunch at 10:45. $5 Famous Bloody Marys, $3 mimosas at Rafters Music and Food. We're also brought to you by the Iron Horse Grill. Iron Horse Grill specializes in on-site large catering for up to 250 people and off-site full catering services, especially beverage catering. If you're planning a birthday party, a graduation celebration, a rehearsal dinner, or a wedding reception, you want to be able to enjoy the moment, the Iron Horse Grill is your answer. It's a one-stop shop for beverage services for a 250 to 500 person wedding or even a 3,500 person gala. Get in touch with Sarah Black, 601-398-0151 for your catering needs. Running out of time for Oxford Park Commission Youth Baseball and Softball. Leagues are open for ages 5 to 15. Cost to play is $50. All the games are going to be played at M Trade Park. Registration concludes on Friday, so you want to get started on that now. The season begins on April the 6th. Reserve your place at oxfordparkcommission.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen and Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile, so call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing available at corinthdental.com.
Podcast also brought to you by In-House Interior and Design. That's 325 West Main Street in Tupelo. And they're also inside Sugar Magnolia. They're on University Avenue in Oxford. 662-681-6241 is the phone numbers. They handle all aspects of home design, from windows, doors, paint, wallpaper, lights, fixtures, anything you think of, including furniture. They travel in-state and out-of-state. They have 30 years combined experience with Nikki and Ashley. They can take care of you. Also, tell you they're offering 20% off the first 10 dorm room assignments if you would like to take part in that. So, In-House Interior Design there in Tupelo and Oxford. Again, 662-681-6241. I'm sure we'll get back on recruiting in a second. A couple of the baseball notes since the last time we've talked. We reported that Doug Nikhazy was arrested on Monday morning with a DUI. Ole Miss said they would handle, quote, appropriately and internally on that. I don't have this. The tea leaves suggest to me that he will not be suspended for the season opener. I'm not guessing, but I am kind of guessing. That has been the case, that it has been handled internally for most of the last decade. I think I mentioned this at some point. I remember in 2009, Drew Pomeranz and Tim Ferguson both had gotten them in the offseason and were suspended for the first weekend at South Alabama, or a tournament at South Alabama. But since then, I have not been aware of any DUI suspensions. So my guess is he will be on the mound that Friday night and hit whatever punishment will be out of the media at that point. The other bit of a news we've talked about on.
What do you think about that look?
It's not a good look. I've had some baseball people kind of reach out to me and be like, "Whoa, I'm a little surprised by that." And I'm not surprised. I've heard some things on what he has done, but I'm not getting into that because I don't know it for sure. That night against Louisville is not going to kill you. It's almost kind of one of those deals where in some ways I think there's a PR response to it that makes it look like you're taking it more seriously. Even if what you did do maybe is a more serious act, there is a certain public nature of that makes it look like it was handled in a certain way. So we'll see. I have not talked to Mike about it since that point. We'll see him if not before. Tuesday is media day for baseball. And then Tyler Myers should get final word on that today. As I reported on Monday, he left Saturday's intra-squad with some forearm pain. He saw Dr. James Andrews, had an MRI. It showed, quote, some issues with the UCL. The UCL is the elbow ligament that is associated with Tommy John injuries. They were going to get a second opinion, but I did not sense a whole lot of optimism. I expect it to be some type of elbow damage there for Tyler Myers, but we'll report that when we get it officially. But that's kind of where that sits right now. He threw a good many innings last year. Definitely, it's going to have a role, so it could be a deal where somebody else has to step up. Frankly, it's where Greer Holston's emergence or reemergence it could be very, very valuable. Greer's been really good in fall and spring. I don't know what that was last year. Just had basically the yips, had a mental issue for a year, and seems to have bounced back out of it. The fastball's into the 90s. The breaking stuff looks good. So maybe a huge benefit for Ole Miss with Greer back for his final season. So basketball against South Carolina tonight. Frank Martin has somehow gotten that team respectable in the SEC when they're not very good.
He's a hell of a coach.
Matchup-wise, what does this look like tonight?
It's going to be interesting up front. South Carolina bangs the glass. They get a lot of second chance points. They're always going to play hard. That's what they do. They're going to defend you hard. That's what they do. It's going to be about toughness for Ole Miss, and frankly, this is an Ole Miss team that doesn't show consistent toughness. They show it at times. They wither at times. South Carolina is the type of team that will make a weak team wither. So we'll see. I don't know that we're at the point of this. Frankly, I shouldn't say this as the guy that covers basketball. I think we're at the point of the season where it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about what happens for next season. It's all about what happens in recruiting. Speaking of recruiting, where it's got to be impactful, this has to become an impactful recruiting class. You're not going to redo this thing with a couple of 3-stars. You're going to have to figure something out here soon about recruiting. Probably going to have to get into the grad transfer market and get impactful players. People did this a year ago with Terrence Davis, and the people are starting to spin it now with Breein Tyree. Breein Tyree has scored a lot of points at Ole Miss. Breein Tyree has scored more points at Ole Miss than Terrence Davis did. To act like Breein Tyree's loss is, oh, ho-hum, we'll just throw somebody in there. That is utter crap, man. I mean, tote the water a little bit. That is crap. Breein Tyree has scored a lot of points in an Ole Miss uniform. I've seen most of them. You don't just replace him. That is spin. Matthew Morrell looks like he's college ready. Unfortunately for Matthew, he's going to have to be.
You hope Sean Robinson's added a lot of weight and can play.
He's added some weight. Is he ready to be a banger down low? I mean, I watched Arkansas and Auburn. You and I were talking a little bit while that game was going on last night. Auburn wins at Arkansas in overtime. And I told you, I said both of those programs have passed Ole Miss. The way they play, the physicality of the way they play, the intensity with which they play. Not by a lot, but it's there.
It just shows you the margin for error is so small in this league that at least is investing in the sport, if nothing else. I mean, again, the league's not as good as maybe we thought it was going to be, but everybody cares right now. Everybody's pretty locked in. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at it, and from a who are you sure Ole Miss as a program is ahead of right now, it's Vanderbilt and maybe Missouri. And that's my only definite. I mean, I can get into some other semantics with you.
Yeah.
But that's the only ones where I go, hey, absolutely, yeah, they're better than those programs. There's no doubt about it.
I completely agree.
I mean, LSU, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina would be in the boat, but they've done a pretty good job. They were in a Final Four a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-3 in the league, 13-8. He keeps them afloat, even though they're not very good. I mean, I think that's in that conversation. Obviously, Mississippi State's having a pretty good season. They're 5-4 in the league, 14-8 overall.
No, they look like a tournament team.
You think so?
They're on the bubble, but they look like one.
Losing in Lexington by 8, I think, last night.
Is that what happened last night?
Yeah, it was like 80-72, maybe something like that. Tennessee obviously has been very good. A&M, we'll see. He's done a hell of a job to get them to 5-4 in the league right now. I will say that. That's pretty incredible.
He's benefiting from that first year stuff right now.
Yeah, he's kind of Kermit
it's
last
new.
year.
The message is the kids are locked in. It's year 2 and 3 when kids are. The message doesn't resonate quite as loudly because they've heard it.
Arkansas's 4-5, but doing a pretty good job. Alabama 4-5. You love them. They've been at 4-5.
I did. They have some injuries now.
Georgia's in that thing too. I mean, they have a lottery pick, so I have to.
But
they've shown the ability to get that recruit, which is important.
Yeah.
But they're not anything crazy as a program by any means. And then Missouri, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt inside the SEC. South Carolina's SEC wins this season are Vanderbilt at Arkansas, Missouri at Auburn. I'm sorry, they lost at Auburn. At Texas A&M, and then Kentucky at home. Here, a team that was just struggling all over the place. They beat Virginia, which Virginia is not what we maybe thought at the time.
Right.
They've struggled. They beat Virginia and then have this lull where they lose to Stetson, get blown out against Florida, and then lose kind of a really good nail-biter in Knoxville, 56-55. And then after that, here's their schedule. They win against Kentucky 81-78. They beat up A&M 81-67 in College Station. They go to Auburn and lose by 13, but nobody's killing anybody for that. They hammer Vanderbilt, as most teams have done. They go to Fayetteville and win 79-77, and then they just demolish Missouri at home. They're on a heck of a run right now. The Gamecocks coming into Oxford tonight pretty hot.
Yeah, I don't know what the line is tonight. I would probably pick South Carolina. Don't anticipate a big crowd.
You don't?
I don't.
There'll be 500 people show up for a bobblehead.
That's true.
Just a bobblehead.
That is a cool bobblehead.
It's a great bobblehead. Yeah.
D. Beckwith from Florence, Alabama, 4-star, chooses Tennessee over Florida.
What's that mean?
Just recruiting.
Oh, you're just giving.
Good get for them.
I feel like Tennessee's in a little bit of a panic mode and is trying to remedy that.
It's certainly possible. Enos Rakestraw, probably the most talked about 3-star in the country, in large part because Alabama pursued the hell out of him late. He signed with Missouri this morning, which was a little bit of a surprise. I think a lot of people thought Alabama would pull that off because Alabama.
Because Alabama.
Yeah, so it's a good get for Elijah Drinkwitz.
Where's the kid from?
Somewhere in Louisiana.
He's going to Missouri?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Trying to figure out where that kid's from. I know that Sam Spiegelman was going to that this morning. I talked to Sam at length last night.
The line right now, you can get them either way you'd like. Well, I take that back. Ole Miss -1 right now. South Carolina opened as a 1-point favorite. The Rebels are now a 1-point favorite. The money line's very tight, around 100 to 110. The over-under total is 142, so they're expecting a score around 70-70. The odd shark predictions, and again, this is because Ole Miss has those couple blowouts that are just killing them analytically. They have South Carolina winning 80-76 on odd shark.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a lot of points. I'm not sure either team gets that high.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty big number. I'll check Ken Palm in a second. LSU show Rake Straw, any interest?
No. He's from Duncanville. Is that Louisiana or Texas?
That's Texas.
Texas.
Pretty sure that's Texas. What do you expect Kiffin's message to be today, too?
I don't know. It's a good question. Super quiet, kind of laid back, not saying much. Say the same things all coaches say, and then I think you'll see him pivot. If I were him, I'd pivot. I'd pivot to 21 pretty quickly this morning.
You think that's what he'll do?
That's what I would do. I don't know what he'll do. I don't know the guy. I've never met him. No way to know kind of how he operates in these deals. It's a transition class. It's a transition for us as well. I don't think there'll be any gimmicky stuff. I think it'll be pretty straight. I'm curious whether we'll talk about Zach Evans or not, whether that's gone down or not.
We have no indication at what time he might do anything.
No, none.
Okay.
It'd be interesting how he responds with some coaches. You know, look, Derek Nix wasn't one of his guys. You know, does this put Derek Nix on the clock from a recruiting standpoint? And I'm not rampaging and all that crap. Stop. I'm asking. It'll be interesting. That was the holdover.
And there was a definite turn in the Weidman stuff.
That's out there, and it's true. There was a switch in who recruited him in the last 48 hours.
Ken Palm, by the way, I just went over there for the heck of it, predicting a 50% game as far as percentage. They have South Carolina winning 72-71, so even.
That score sounds more realistic than the other one.
Ole Miss's problem is their percentages to win the next slew of games after that.
Yes.
37, 36, 15, 37, 38, 13.
Well, that's not good.
And then they have a 75 and a 62. But, yeah.
I anticipate 4 and 14-ish is what it feels like right now.
Which would be one of these that we're not tonight, or one of these that they're not necessarily predicted in, and then Vanderbilt and Missouri.
Yeah,
that's your easiest path to 4 if you were trying to find 4. Ken Palm's going 14 and 17, 5 and 13, and frankly, that feels like one too many.
Maybe so.
Just judging.
A lot of questions about the decision to keep Nix. I don't know that it was all that. I think it was a sense of, here's a guy that knows the program. Here's a guy that knows the state. Here's a guy that's been here for a long time. There might have been a wide receiver coach or two that he couldn't get. In fact, there was. He went after T. Martin. He couldn't do it. He went after Frank Wilson. Frank ended up getting the head coaching job at McNeese. And so they went ahead and got it done. At the time, he was going to keep 2 coaches off that staff, Freddie Roach and Derek. And I don't know. We'll see.
This could be a really quiet day. Not even say good or bad, just quiet for a signing day.
And it's the end of a transition class, and like I said, I feel like I'm gonna be repetitive. It's today's the day that you start looking at 2021, and it's an absolutely critical recruiting year for that program. If I were covering Arkansas, it'd be the same thing I'd write about Arkansas today. If I were covering Missouri, it'd be the same thing I'd write about Missouri today. That first year after a transition is always absolutely vital. It was critical for Hugh Freeze, and he nailed it. Forget all the other stuff. I mean, subsequently things fell apart on him, but two things I think are really important for Ole Miss in the 2020 calendar year. One is that you play kind of inspired football all year, steal a game somewhere, get to 6 wins, get to a bowl game, let it feel like you have momentum. And then you've got to nail this recruiting class. Got to crush it. Need some early commitments. When I say early, I mean April, May, June. That give
the summer's got to be impactful.
That give you momentum going into the fall. That give you kids recruiting for you. That's why I'm not going to sit here and indict any coaches on this staff. Kiffin, Nix, anybody. Transition classes are hard. You don't have the relationships built over the course of a year. You won't be able to say that in December. If in the middle of December this is a ho-hum deal, it's the criticism would be warranted. Right now it's not fair. It's a transition class. You do have to figure out kind of what went wrong and go from there.
Oh, big time self-scouting week where you here's the layout now. Here's how we're received or perceived and received and everything else. Now, what do you do about it? How do you go about it? How do you correct that? No, that's the key.
Because you didn't lose Malachi Wideman to Tennessee because of relationships. Because Malachi Wideman was going to Florida State until Florida State made a change. Malachi Wideman was a transition recruit. In much the same way that Robert Scott was, you get those kids late because you do a great job of scramble recruiting. Once you're stable, it's not scramble recruiting anymore. It's about relationships. I mean, I'll use the Alan Horace, the tight end who's going to UTSA. He's going to UTSA because the two coaches at Arkansas that recruited him for 3 years are now at UTSA. At the end of the day, he trusts those coaches, those people. It's not buildings and stuff. It's people. It's relationships.
What's the in-state class look like for 2021?
Loaded at receiver. The quarterback at Starkville's going to Florida State, big-time player. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get obsessed with that, nor should they. I don't think they're going to be hung up on Mississippi recruiting. That was a knock on the previous staff, as you know, and I think it was a legitimate knock. So I don't think you're going to see any hashtags today. It's going to be about got to get to work.
Mm-hmm. Continue in a minute. First, tell you about Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape from lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. Did you know they offer a lot more? Mastercuts will build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, and any outdoor living spaces with paper patios, starting at just $3,000 and forestry mulching, just $100 an hour. The path to your dream backyard may be easier than you think. You can visit them online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote or give them a call at 662-607-7773. Again, that's gomastercuts.com.
Dead Soxy, just like you, loves new recruits, and they know once you join the Dead Soxy team, it's over for all the other brands out there. That's why they are giving you an incredible opportunity to make the switch to a better sock life. For Valentine's Day, they are offering 3 select red-style socks at the incredibly low price of $5. There are no excuses for not giving them a try. Additionally, for those of you looking to add to your sock wardrobe, Dead Soxy is offering 3 different style mystery boxes, 10 pairs for just $60 each. The Rebel Grove promo code will not apply to these special offers, but can still be redeemed on all other purchases made on the site for 30% off. With their patented technology to prevent that dreaded slippage, it's time you join the winning team with Dead Soxy. It's time to ask yourself, are you Soxy? Splinter Creek is a gated conservation community located 8 miles southwest of Oxford, 75 minutes from the Memphis airport. SplinterCreekMS.com is the site. 601-898-2772 is the number to call to schedule a tour with Tom Smith Land and Home Agents today. 34 lakefront lots ranging in size from 2 to 25 acres, 650 acres of lakes, pine, and hardwood forest, 6 miles of private roads, well-maintained running, cycling, hiking trails. It's just a beautiful place. If you're thinking about relocating to Oxford, retiring in Oxford, you owe it to yourself to look at Splinter Creek. It's SplinterCreekMS.com. We're also brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. They've got your pregame and pre-concert needs covered, so whether you're headed to Oxford for SEC basketball or baseball, or you're headed to Tupelo for one of the many events at Bancorp South Arena, make sure you get your event started off right with a visit to Southern Craft, conveniently located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford, and at 205 East Troy Street in Tupelo. Southern Craft has all your Southern favorites ready to serve your hunger needs. So drop in, enjoy a curated craft cocktail or one of their many craft beers on tap. Don't forget about the catering, from private event to catering in for your staff at work. Southern Craft has your catering needs covered with the meal everyone is sure to love. So make your day crafty at Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Also brought to you by Nest and Wild. Sleep better with the Nest and Wild mattress. It's a Mississippi-based mattress company with the high-quality mattress delivered right to your door. They make buying a new mattress easy. Every Nest and Wild mattress is 1 foot thick, gives you comfort and support that will last. That's from the California King to the twin size, all 1 foot thick, all American made, and incredibly competitively priced. Throw in the podcast discount, and it's even better. No risk decision. Nest and Wild believes in their product so much they're offering a 99-night trial on every mattress. So try it out, sleep on it for 99 nights, and if you don't like it, you can return it. NestandWild.com. Order your mattress. Use the podcast code REBEL20, REBEL20, and get 20% off your purchase. It's going to arrive at your door in 3 to 5 days. We put up a Mind on My Money podcast this morning. It's brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in multiple states, has advisors in multiple states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. They treat investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust is going to sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
It's completely random. I don't know why I saw this, but I seen it on Twitter a second ago. The Pebble Beach Pro-Am is this week, where all the celebrities and athletes play with the pros. And it always surprises me when I see a professional athlete that doesn't have a pretty good golf handicap. But I think what it tells me is they just don't play enough for the repetition part, because they have better hand-eye coordination than 99% of the planet. So if they really cared, I think they'd be able to pull it off.
That's probably true.
Because I'm seeing here, like Aaron Rodgers, a 9 handicap. I would have expected better than that. Just NFL quarterback with.
Yeah, I doubt if he spends a whole hell of a lot of time on
Tony
that.
Romo 0, Matt Ryan 1, Justin Verlander a 5, Peyton an 8, Rodgers a 9, Wayne Gretzky a 9, Eli a 10, Larry Fitzgerald a 9, Condoleezza Rice
Eli
a 15.
plays a lot of golf.
Nah, I mean, I've seen him a couple times around here, but not much.
Justin Verlander, if I'm him, I don't play much golf.
You don't play golf?
Mm-mm.
It's 4 hours you're not at home.
That's
Is it that's so
other things I would do with those 4 hours.
She might be off on assignment somewhere.
Could be.
You could go too, though.
I'd go with her. Enjoy the scenery, and
I feel like you'd be very smothering if you were Justin Verlander.
I mean, I wouldn't be like that. I'd just be kind of laid back about it, but I'd be around. I wouldn't want to spend a lot of nights alone.
So you want to come to Costa Rica, or you want to hang out here? I'll stay in Houston. It's fine.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. If I'm playing golf, it's in Costa Rica.
You're not gonna hang out with the buddies down at the club for a few days on that one.
That's what I'm saying. I can hang out with Jim or her.
He is the new, more successful Andy Roddick. Like everything, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's gonna be all right.
All good.
Yeah.
What do you think about this Astro scandal? I don't know.
Whatever. I'm rich.
Yeah.
I got a title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen my wife?
He might have been like the one person not embarrassed by any of when that stuff all leaked out a few years ago. He goes, with Kate Upton, whatever. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah. I lost Game 7 of the World Series. Nah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I saw that. I don't know why I was thinking about it other than for a signing day, there's not much going on. Honestly.
Thank you, Webb. We really appreciate that. It's very nice.
What did you think about the baseball trade yesterday? So the Red Sox and Dodgers, the main participants of a trade that send Mookie Betts and David Price to L.A. Alex Verdugo is also in this. The Twins are in this as well, as they are.
They got Ken Tomato, right?
Yeah, Ken Tomato is going to Minnesota, and then they are shipping a pitching prospect, Gratterall, I don't know, to Boston. So, yeah.
I just think if you're a Red Sox fan, this has to be comforting that you're going to get under the tax apron now, because God knows.
If anybody has empathetic, though, it's Cubs fans,
yeah,
right?
There's no money in Boston or Chicago. There's no money to pay these guys. I mean, he's only the second best player in baseball, and you lose him for a couple of prospects, including one that's been allegedly involved in a sexual assault situation. Yeah, if you're a Red Sox fan, there's nothing to see here. It's all good.
The two teams that are mourning today are the Boston Red Sox and the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Because the Padres make some moves and they're thinking, okay, we'll try to get into this thing, and then after doing nothing for most of the winter, the Dodgers just take the hammer and pound everybody else in the West back down again and go, okay.
The Dodgers lineup is crazy good. They are the prohibitive World Series favorite at this point.
And now they continue to be that and still have not won a title, so it's hard.
It is, especially when the other team's stealing your signs electronically.
And some details.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with Chris Bryant now. A lot of talk about the Nationals. A lot of talk about the Phillies. I read that the Cubs and Braves have not been in contact with one another, even though that deal makes a ton of sense. The Braves are not willing to part with prospects, and the Cubs are not going to give Bryant away for cheap.
The Dodgers sending Jock Peterson across town to the Angels, too, last night.
Yeah. Tells you how deep they are. The Dodgers, give them credit, have also built a phenomenal farm system while they're doing everything that they're doing. The Red Sox farm system is bad. And so there is a certain amount of rebuild going on in a division where you have two powerhouses in New York and Tampa.
Good grief. I mean, yeah, I was looking at that Dodgers roster a little bit. Wow.
It's loaded.
The Dodgers are extending their window, which is all you can do. It's all you can ask for. Just keep extending it and extending it and extending it and hope 1 October you get a little blessed. It's hard. I mean,
yes.
You run into 2 pitchers and you're out. That's it. That's what it takes.
There aren't many teams that are going to be able to contend. And you know, if you're the Red Sox today, it basically admitted that you're rebuilding. The Boston Red Sox rebuilding, but they want to get under that. They want to get under that tax apron so that they can reset the clock.
Reading on Twitter here that Spotify has purchased The Ringer, Bill Simmons' media company. Has tons of podcasts, website, different things. Spotify has bought 4 different companies here in the last year or so, really, I mean, investing tons of money in podcasts, thinking that the revenue will back it up. How do we get bought? How do we go about getting bought? Because that appears to be very lucrative when you get bought. We need to find a way to get
We do need to find a way to get bought.
Yeah, I think getting bought would be a good move for 2020, 2021.
Because I'm for sale.
Long-term goal, getting bought would be good.
I mean, I'm for sale. I have a price tag.
I know some people think he's annoying and whatever. I still listen to some of his stuff. I know he's pretty good with the NBA. This legitimizes everything Bill Simmons did here. He built a company and then found a way to get somebody to buy it and purchase this thing. Because I wasn't really sure how it was working. That whole thing on HBO was kind of a bomb when he first started doing that, right when he left ESPN. But the deal will close in the first quarter of 2020, as I'm reading here.
I'm going to reiterate this because I feel like sometimes I have to play the role of therapist. In the message board thread, someone's talking about Ole Miss losing a cornerback to Arizona. They're referring to the Whitley kid who had his visit canceled last weekend. Nothing against the kid. I'm sure he's a wonderful kid. I wish him the very best. He's going to Arizona. This staff, their philosophy, whether it will work or not, remains to be seen. Is that fair?
Sure.
But their philosophy is they're not going to take kids who they don't believe can be impactful in this league. They're not going to take projects. They're not going to take a kid that, well, you know what, if he grows and he does this and he does this and he does this, we think he'll become a player. Where you invest 3 or 4 years into him and you get nothing out of it. And the Ole Miss roster, if we're all being honest with each other, has a lot of that on its roster right now. It has too many projects. You can take a project if you're gray shirting, some stuff like that, where you're it's not costly on the front end. This league is won with impactful players. That's how it's won. It's the only way it's won. Look who wins. How do they do it? Impactful future NFL players. That's how you win in this league.
A little surprised it's this slow. I'm only going to mention this one more time. I'm going to get off the story in a second. But, I mean, people who are listening to a podcast, they might find this somewhat interesting. This is according to Edison Research, an estimate, because there's no way to really know for sure. Percentage do you think last year of the American population over 12 years old listened to a podcast?
71%.
You would have to cut that in half and still be too high.
Really?
32%.
Only 32% of...
Podcasting is growing fast, but it's still a niche business compared to the rest of the ad world. Last year, Edison Research estimated that 32% of people in the U.S. over age 12, that's 90 million people, listen to a podcast each month. However, that's up from 11% a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
Still, I mean, growing very quickly,
Yeah.
but still at that point.
We were cutting edge, man.
Oh, yeah. Podcast advertising expecting to go over $1 billion this year.
Amen.
Lord help.
From
Real subtle in your mailbag today, Mr. McCready, by the way. Real subtle.
what did I say?
What do you do here or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Because I went in and turned it into an actual GIF for you
did
from
you?
a
Thank
link. Yeah.
Carson does not. Well, yeah, he does. Carson listens to a couple of NBA podcasts. Avery Forbes asked, "Does Carson listen to podcasts?" He listens to a couple of NBA ones. He does. We've made some money off podcasts. Been life-changing. We're still learning. We're still in the infant stages of figuring out how to do it.
Podcast part's not here. Are you still here?
No.
You don't think so?
No. No. I know for a fact I wouldn't be.
Some of that's also just kind of enjoyment and outlet too, because you missed talk radio and some things along those lines.
Yeah, I loved radio. I loved it. I loved the interactions. I like some of the video stuff that we do now with the interaction with the people who are listening to us. I liked talk radio. I thought it was fun. I liked the live part of it.
It has, from our site, from people getting to know us, all those things. But I mean, from I guess because the way you came in and the whole Orgeron stuff, and a lot of people having thoughts about Collins Mobile and stuff or whatever. as much as possible, frankly, it's probably changed how you're even seen by the public in a positive way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, 'cause they go, hey, he's not just a complete and utter asshole.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't think had we not done podcasts, I just don't think it would have worked.
You think it was that big of a deal from that standpoint, from a branding and a marketing and just getting to know you in general?
Well, absolutely.
Not dishonest, just period.
No, and just the stuff that every staff that came in before I could even talk to anybody and say hello, they'd been told, hey, you got to be careful, this guy's bad. And now I can, when people say this guy's out to get you and this guy's bad, I can say I talk every day for an hour and a half. I record 9 podcasts a week, and I write on a site. If I were out to get you, there would be evidence. It's hard to argue that. When someone says, you're out to get Ole Miss, you hate Ole Miss, you're out to get Ole Miss, you're out to destroy Ole Miss. I talk every day. I write every day. There's just no data to support that. And I think before the podcast, I couldn't say that as much because I would say, well, you don't see me writing it. They're like, well, yeah, but I'm like, I talk all day. It's right here. It's recorded. So I definitely think it's helped. It's helped me in that regard.
Chris Wells asked, you probably don't have much of an answer. Do you have an end game? How do you hope you get it out of this? You can't settle with kids or what?
I'm through having kids.
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Kids out of the house, that kind of thing. Did you break down your life in stages like that in some ways for whatever you're trying to do?
Yeah, sure. To answer his question overall, I don't have an end game in mind. I'm much more day to day in the way I live my life than I've ever been. I'm happy. I'm all good. Caroline graduates next year. Carson goes right into Oxford High School. I would think in 5 years, if you told me that when Carson's finished with high school that maybe I have take an exploratory look around, maybe. I don't know. I haven't, honest to God, thought that far ahead.
Who knows what the media industry looks like at that point?
In 5 years, yeah, I have no clue.
Because in 5 years, it's changed dramatically now.
Yeah, I don't know, where the kids will be.
I was talking to Matt Moscona about this on Bourbon South last week, and I said something like, hey, what do you think we'll be doing in 5 years? And he goes, we'll be doing the same thing. We just don't know where we'll be doing it. We're still going to be talking to people, still going to be writing, still going to be having the same conversations. You just don't know what platform or anything else or what that looks like. Or 5 years ago, we wouldn't have said, hey, there's a YouTube show in 5 years, and we're doing this every morning talking to people.
It's one of the things I'm fascinated to talk to Lindsey Graham about tomorrow is I can't wait because I think he's a genius. I can't wait to ask him, where do you see this going? Because he's busy. The guy's doing 15,000 podcasts a day. Something tells me that when he goes home at night and he puts his head on the pillow, he thinks, wonder what's next.
Yeah, I'm going to continue this conversation. Let's take our final break. We'll come back and keep talking about this. Otherwise, we're going to run way over time this morning. Podcast brought in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Tyson Drugs there in the Square in Holly Springs. G&M there on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222. They deliver local to your home or workplace. They offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day every month. Make it easy on you and Brightway Meds. They will individually package that medication to potentially help save a life as you have the medicine you need when you need it. Again, 662-236-2222.
Valentine's Day is drawing near, now just 2 weeks away. Our friends from Blue Delta Jeans are here, as always, to help you get the perfect fit for your special someone. Blue Delta's Oxford studio will be by appointment only on Valentine's Day, complete with complimentary champagne and strawberries for anyone who would like to schedule a private fitting before a night out on the town. For our listeners not in Oxford, gift cards can be purchased at Blue Delta's new website, BlueDeltaJeans.com, complete with Valentine's Day gift packaging. So whether you are in Oxford or not, this Valentine's Day, give your loved one the gift of the perfect fit. Reach out to Blue Delta on their social media or email at info@BlueDeltaJeans.com to schedule your custom fitting today. We're also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. As Chase mentioned earlier in the show, my mailbag is up. It is brought to you by the Westin Jackson. That's home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. You can indulge in personalized massages, signature facials, soothing body treatments, and more. And you can also head over to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro right there in the Westin Jackson. Sip on a creative craft cocktail or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. We're brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Whether you're thinking about a golf trip, a trip to the Caribbean, you headed on a cruise, a resort in Florida, whatever, get in touch with John. He can help you. He can make it a trip that will be memorable for a lifetime. All you got to do is give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he'll give you options. And no, you don't have to live anywhere near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387. Or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with a live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5-minute wait. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. I think I just got some more bad news.
On.
Source pretty close to the Ole Miss program telling me that Deron Branch has signed with Georgia.
Oh.
I will see if I can't confirm that.
I'll head on over to the Georgia site to see if they have anything while we're talking. That would be out of nowhere a little bit, wouldn't it?
That's a big blow. There's no way around that. Last night, Georgia sources were telling me, Anthony Dasher and all those guys were saying that they were hearing Ole Miss.
But no, while you're doing that, I was trying to finish up that last conversation. Chris said he asked because he said he had a 5-year plan and didn't know if he was kind of on pace for that or not. I don't know that I have a 5-year plan by any means. There's things I want to accomplish. But it's not. It's nowhere near as organized as that. And with what we do, things have changed so much in 5 or 10 years. Even what your kind of pinnacle professions are in a lot of ways. Because a decade ago, even you got something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. A decade ago or so,
I'm a multitasker, man.
Okay, gotcha. It was, hey, what newspaper or what entity or whatever can I go be a columnist or whatever? Actually, in today's world, you look around and even most media people, it's how do I create multiple funnels and not really be a personal brand, but do be somewhat of an entrepreneur and find ways to connect with people on a more intimate level, on a more one-on-one level through podcasts or your writing or your websites or whatever you're doing. That's the crazy thing about this profession is it's completely changed in a decade on even what those pinnacle jobs are. They're just nowhere near even the same things for the most part as they were a few years ago. So that's one thing there.
Anthony Dasher says, we're hearing some murmurs. This one's gone back and forth. Honestly, don't know how Kirby is getting the math to work, meaning numbers, 25 and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The numbers always work out. I've heard once or twice.
They do. When you have the number 1 ranked class in the country like Georgia does, there is some, you are.
A little fuzzier math.
It is a little fuzzier, yeah.
You gonna post that real quick?
Yeah.
But no immediate plans. The only time that I'm trying to think back, even whatever. Frankly, it was when Dave was still here that I even really pursued any other job. I think I've applied for one job since 2012, something like that. As I'm just kind of thinking. It's pretty close to doing something else, probably late 09, early 10, and then applied for one job in 2011, 2012, something like that. It was covering It's covering Texas football and baseball for the American Statesman, whatever year that was. And then I was approached about some college baseball stuff a couple years ago, but that's basically been it. I haven't even really had any conversations with anybody other than that.
Zach Berry says a FSU source says Malachi Weidman has been in contact with Tennessee this morning but has not made a decision yet. Jacob Horn signs with Texas State.
Oh,
former Ole Miss commitment.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point. He's a great example. So
he signed with Jacob Peeler.
Yeah. So let me make this, but two things. Jacob Horn is a guy that the Ole Miss previous staff, and I'm not knocking them, believed they could develop. This staff looked at Jacob Horn and said, he can't help us in our room. Where does he go? Texas State. Nothing against Texas State, but Texas State's not recruiting SEC players. Jacob felt comfortable with the relationship that he built with Jacob Peeler, and he ends up there, and it's probably going to be a real good fit for him. But there's a lot that you could take from that, in my opinion, and sort of see what I'm saying. And I'm not saying one way's right or another way's right. We'll find out. But it's a completely different philosophy, Chase. And when you have a complete different philosophy like this, the transition's going to be awkward.
Well, Strahan with actually a pretty good question. He goes, so y'all are getting into the influencer business as opposed to journalism? No, and I mean, look, there's a fine line. You got to be careful, but no, that's a different.
So my kids talk about influencers, and this is where I'm kind of the old man here.
Okay.
What Caroline and I have had this conversation several times. Because they follow influencers on Instagram, especially. What is an influencer?
It's a whole nother level to advertising based stuff. It's essentially really pushing products. It's having people represent you, knowing that you just being out in the community or out with a following or whatever would lead to whatever for them as well. It's much more. It's a much more direct method of product promotion.
Like makeup and
yeah, I mean it would be like doing We Blue Delta times 1,000. Like it would be like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, these people are doing it simply because you're seen.
Because I see the girls doing it with makeup a lot, like different people. Where hey, this is my brand, and this is my face wash routine or whatnot. You know, this is how I moisturize or whatever.
Yeah, basically, I mean, you know, people on Instagram get paid money to simply make a post with whatever in it for the day.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. As Big Ben says, it's a step below Twitch streamers and YouTubers. I mean, it's probably valid.
You don't think I could become an influencer? It doesn't feel like something I could do.
Yeah, Ronald Mathis with basically the easier way to explain this. They basically sell their services. You want your lipstick shown, that'll be $5,000.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's advertising.
Would you wear lipstick for $5,000? Because I would.
In a heartbeat.
Right now.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Give it to me.
Completely comfortable with it. No problem.
Yep.
So whatever. So no, I don't know what's next. I have no clue.
We have the ring light. Avery makes a great point.
We do have the ring light. I am staring at it.
We could do makeup tutorials now.
The first person that recommended that light was Hannah at the blow dry bar. So yeah, that was it has worked out well. It has been a very good recommendation.
It has. It's worked out.
The
good.
light's fine. But we do have the ring light.
I'm glad we didn't get two of them.
We would have been blown out of this room.
Yeah.
This thing is so bright. People can't understand just how bright this thing is if you look past your computer at it. That's a good point. They actually make a lot more money than Twitch streamers and YouTubers. I can actually answer some of this. Colonel Rub 2000 says, speaking of sponsors, be curious to hear Ben's take on the Crystal bankruptcy. The bankruptcy was only dealing with corporate stores. None of the franchise stores, the best of my understanding, had anything to do with that. So it's not like Ben's stuff's in trouble or anything. Yeah, we can adjust the brightness. I know. There's a dimmer switch. I'm not even 100% sure I know how to turn it on. You know the truth. But anyway. There's that. What are you seeing?
Just looking, just checking, looking for stuff.
See anything?
Not yet. Kind of quiet.
Well, there's only been one signee so far. I think Cedric Milton's the only name in the.
Oh, is he done?
I think so. I think he did it at 9. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So.
I knew he was going to do it. He was putting a video together yesterday.
the camera, actually, it's 60 frames per second is what it's set at, but he just keeps stuttering sometimes. I don't know. That probably is the next step, honestly, other than figuring out how this little red box over here works that we don't know how it works, is upgrading the cameras just a touch. We need one step up on camera that will maintain a speed.
And I think once there are some rumblings that where we are is about to get a major internet speed upgrade, and that will help too.
So, try that. Yeah.
Like, I know Jay and I are getting ready to start YouTubing Greatest Pod in the South, in addition to...
We're in the same location. We're about 4.5 feet from one another.
That's about right.
Something like that.
We couldn't hit each other from this distance.
No,
we could throw something at each other pretty effectively.
Yeah. It's like an L table, and we do have really good mics. The mics are good. The mics are expensive. So, yeah, I'm not a genius on a lot of the stuff, so things you're telling me, I probably don't even understand what to do about it.
Did you read Avery's question about inner monologue in the mailbag? Do you have an inner monologue? Do you talk to yourself kind of throughout the day? Because apparently not everyone does. I always assume that just everyone walks around talking to themselves.
Explain. What do you mean exactly?
When you're walking around, like in the course of a day, if you're by yourself, are you kind of talking to yourself? Is your voice, are you hearing yourself?
I don't know that I hear myself in my own voice, but yeah, of course, I'm contemplating in my head and kind of talking. Yeah, I don't think I hear myself talk to myself, but yeah.
So would you say that you have an inner monologue or not?
What's the difference in that and just thinking through something?
Dude, I'm asking you questions. I mean, you don't get so argumentative about it.
I'm asking.
I don't know.
I need that answer to be able to answer the question. Like if I go, hey, I really need to go to the grocery store today. Is that me inner monologuing to myself?
A little bit. I think so. Or just talking to yourself like, hey, got something going on. You're kind of sorting through it. I wrote in my mailbag, it's one of the things I miss about distance running is that I would get to no joke, I'd get 5-6 miles in and people would talk about like the runner's high. What I would get was more of a runner's calm.
That's a decent question. What voice do you hear? I mean, I guess it's my own.
Well, if you hear a different voice.
Now we have problems.
Yes, Sybil, you got some issues. I mean, I hear my voice.
Shh, Fred, shut up.
Shut up, Billy.
I mean, yeah, I'm constantly thinking through things, so I guess so. I mean, I've never really thought about it like talking to myself.
I don't think there's anything wrong with talking to yourself.
No, it's
you ever talk out loud to yourself, like just telling yourself, "Hey, look, this is what you need to be doing."
Very rarely.
I've done that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You'll verbalize it.
Absolutely.
No, mine's internal.
And now that everybody has Bluetooth, you can do it in your own car, and people don't even think you're crazy anymore.
You talk to yourself out loud in your car?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yep. If I'm kind of pissed at myself about something, I'll tell myself, "Hey, here's what we got to be doing. We got this is how we got to fix this." And if I say it out loud, it has more of an impact. It's kind of like writing it down.
JM asking the thing. So the Duff brothers gave $26 million to Ole Miss. That is correct. It was for the STEM building. Is that so they won't move the statue? No, I don't think that has anything to do with it from people I've talked to at all.
I don't think so.
I think actually, and I'm not speaking out of turn per se, but this is second sourced as far as second person source, not straight from me. I think actually Tom Duff was doing Ole Miss a favor by doing what he did that day. I think that was probably misinterpreted or mischaracterized the day that vote took place. I think he was actually salvaging it, the vote for a later day.
I believe that to be true.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right. I feel pretty good about my thought on that. Ronnie says Morgan Freeman's who I hear. That'd be interesting. Just pick out a voice that suits you. And
if you could pick out a voice to talk to you all day, what voice would it be?
I don't even know the guy's name, but I have a hard time sleeping sometimes, and I found it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm really being serious here. So my counselor has told me over time to do some singing bowls and some different meditation stuff and try to just understand my thoughts a little better over time. And the singing bowls don't do much for me. I'm having a hard time making those make any sense. I know everybody's going, "Whoa, sing!" Yeah, I know. But anyway, look, I'm a weird guy at times. It is what it is. So, but what I found on that app is some kind of meditation to go to sleep things. And there's this dude that has like, I think he calls it a podcast, but it's basically like a 20-minute thing you can turn on when you're going to sleep, and kind of is a relaxation, tells you to relax certain parts of your body, to do like some, I think it's called body scanning or something like that. That's what the name of it is. But will put me to sleep, and then I sleep 10 times better if I do it that way versus just falling asleep traditionally without that thing. I don't know why. I have no reason for it, but I do find myself going through sleep cycles better when I do it this way. And for whatever reason, his voice, I've kind of trained myself a little bit for it now, but I conk out. It's done. Yeah. So singing bowls, not so much, but yeah. No, I suck at yoga, which means I should do it more, honestly.
Probably
I'm
so.
awful. Just terrible. I'm like the least flexible person on the planet. So yeah.
I think I'd want Susan Sarandon.
Whoa, what?
Like in her prime when she was
like raspy, talking
kind of
to
sultry,
you?
yeah, talking
Really?
to me, yeah.
Ooh, Bob Ross would be calming.
Yeah.
God bless the 300 people actually listening to this an hour and a half in. I love all of you.
I can't find anything about Cedric Melton yet.
Oh, you can't?
No. He's going to sign with Ole Miss. But I thought it was 9:30.
Okay. All right, this thing has devolved at this point. Again, schedule here, 6:00 at the Annex. It's the lower part of Rafters. Neal will be there. I probably show up, but I can't lose my voice before tonight, so we're kind of pitch counting me a little bit on how we get through the day. I handled this one a little better than I thought I would. I feel okay at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. And then hand raise guys around 8:15 tonight. We'll take your calls, take your questions, and frankly, potentially talk about what was a slow news day with a whole lot going on. So,
also, I want to tell you real quick, people that have supported us, Bluff City Advisory Group, they're dedicated to building the future you desire. Founded in Memphis in 2019, their team is comprised of established and seasoned financial experts who came together to serve individuals and families of their beloved hometown. Give them a call at 901-365-3447 or email ben@bluffcityadvisory.com. Also brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
So we're back tonight with another edition of the show and much more as well. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you in a little while.